All right, folks, welcome to today's training. So today we're going to be going over how to get new leads into your businesses. So yesterday we talked about how to make sure that you're turning your current leads into hot leads and into buyers. But today we want to talk about how to get new leads into your audience. Okay, so we're really excited about diving into this training. We're going to let some of the people in a second here. If you folks did miss day one, you can go back to day one. If you're watching this on YouTube or wherever we're posting it up afterwards, you'll be able to see the other ones. So that being said, we're going to dive in and get rocking and rolling today. We got a couple people that are going to be jumping in here today. So let's go ahead here. Hey folks, hope you're doing well. Welcome on today. I think we got Jessica, Amy, Linnea jumping in. We're gonna have some other people popping in throughout the training, but I'm really excited to dive in today. So if you missed day one, folks, that's totally okay. We have it uploaded to YouTube. It's going to be important that you watch all days of the training because all of them are actually going through different buckets of leads. Okay, so lead generation is all about the three different buckets. I'll quickly explain it at the beginning of today's call because I know some of you weren't able to make yesterday's call, but then we'll just dive into the training for today. So what I explained yesterday is that there are basically three different places that you can always be doing lead generation from. I talked about how there's always new leads, there's always current leads, and there's always past leads, and how you should try to be generating all three types every single day. And so let me quickly go through the definitions again, just so that no one has any concerns about what it is. So new leads, which we're talking about today, is actually getting new people into your audience. I'm actually going to go ahead and show you the kind of the client pathway again and share my screen. So understanding how to get new leads in is the awareness. This is the growing your audience because for a lot of you, you probably don't have many people in your audience who are ideal clients, or even if you do have a decent sized audience, you always want to be getting more of them in. So when we're talking about new leads, that is people who are finding about you from the first time. We call it basically getting a stranger to follow you, right? Yesterday, we talked about current leads. These are the people who are already following you. And we talked about yesterday how to turn current leads into buyers. Okay. So that was yesterday's training, which is incredibly important, one of the most important ones. But today we're going to be talking about the new leads, which is how to get new people into your audience. And then tomorrow, on the last day of this training, we're going to actually be going into how do you then also do past leads. So past leads is something we'll be talking about tomorrow, which is how do you go ahead and people that were leads at one point, maybe they joined your Facebook group, your email list, maybe you had a sales call with them in the past, whatever it is, how do you go ahead and make sure that you're re-engaging with them? Because as a lot of you have heard, the fortune is in the follow-up. It is very true. The follow-up is exactly where it's at. So that's what we're going to be going over the next couple of days. So if you haven't watched yesterday's training, make sure you go watch it. If you need access to it, feel free to just send me a message and we're going to take things from there. So let's talk about new leads. So basically, and folks, go ahead and put in the chat. I know we have a couple people jumping on here today. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Go ahead and comment down below in the chat. Basically, a little bit about audience growth. So actually, let's just start with putting in the chat right now. What are you doing right now to grow your audience? If you're doing nothing, just put down nothing in the chat. If you have some strategies, comment them down below because that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to grow your audience, okay? And so with audience growth, it's very important to understand that we're not just trying to grow your audience with any type of person. We want specific types of people coming into your audience. So Jessica says in-person talks around town and an online webinar. Okay, there we go. How about the rest of you folks? Comment down below what you're doing for audience growth. Because with audience growth, you want to have specific people. I've had too many clients come to me and they're like, Ruben, I'm like, my audience is growing so quickly. And I'm like, this is amazing. And then we look at it and we're like, these are all the wrong people. Meaning these are all not people who would ever actually buy from you. So you want to make sure that you're getting the right demographic, make sure that you're getting people who are actually interested in the material you're posting, and also make sure that they speak the same language as you. This is a really important piece because just random audience is not going to be good for you. So Amy says hashtag social media post, friend, sharing my info. Okay, for sure, for sure. So let's start with actually one of the more important things. When people decide to follow you, that's the first sale you're going to make. Okay, this is actually a really important part of the process to understand that when you're actually getting someone who doesn't know about you at all to become a client, there's a couple things that you sell along the way. The first sale is them following you. Okay, the second sale is them grabbing maybe some of your free content or digesting your free content. And then the final sale is them actually buying something that costs money from you. So today we're actually talking about that first sale. How do you get someone to actually follow you? Now, the first thing that I'm going to showcase to you folks today is that you need to make sure that what you're selling as far as a follow is actually compelling, it's actually desirable, and it's actually specific for people. So when we're starting to think about getting new followers, the first thing you always have to think about is what we call your profile audit, okay? Your profile audit. I'm going to put this down below in the chat. So here's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of you who probably have seen people who have really nice social media profiles, and there's a reason why these people are successful. I'll show you a couple different examples of profiles that are working really, really well right now as far as selling. So I'll show you a couple examples of clients or team members of ours that are selling really well. So, and I'll show you a couple examples actually on Instagram, and then I also will show you a couple examples over on Facebook, okay? So, and the reason I'm going to do this is because this is going to show you what's desirable as far as finding someone on social media and following them versus not desirable, okay? And it all comes down to marketing, right? It comes down to your buyer psychology. So here, let me show you a couple examples here. When we're talking about profile stuff and social media, we want to make sure that you're number one, specific, okay? So let me show you a couple profiles here. So folks can see my screen. Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to show you a couple different Instagram social media profiles here. So you want to make sure that your profile is something that people will look at and want to follow. We all know that it takes about 5 to 7 seconds from someone finding your profile to decide if they're going to follow you or not. And we have this ratio that we actually talk about, which is this ratio of like profile views versus follows, okay? If your profile isn't specific, if it doesn't seem like it's going to be valuable, if it doesn't actually seem even aesthetics make a difference, you will have a low follow ratio for profile visits. Let's say, on example, someone gets 100 profile visits. A really good social media profile will probably get 30 to 50 of those profile visits to become a follower, right? That's a great conversion ratio of someone actually becoming a follower. But if your profile isn't aesthetic, specific, or valuable or compelling, you might only get 1 to 5 people following you for every 100 people who find your profile. And that's going to make it incredibly hard. If you are basically working so hard to grow your audience, but people aren't following you, the biggest reason is your profile. So let's talk about some of the things that are going to make a profile good. Number one is utilizing this space, and this is on Instagram specific. This space right here, the name and also where you're putting your title stuff is actually going to be an SEO play, okay? So whatever you're putting in here is actually an SEO play. So you want to make sure most people are putting their name and what type of service or coach they are, right? Fitness lifestyle coach or IBS and gut health and hormones, right? So that's what you want to do right there. How can you find profile views versus actual follows? Great question, Jessica. So if you go to your insights are going to tell you that. And I can go through that a little bit later, but basically when you go to your Instagram insights, you can see in a given month how many people viewed my profile versus how many followers you got. And it's going to give you a really clear picture on things. Actually, let me see if I can find this for you folks right now, because I think this is actually going to be really helpful for a lot of you to see. So here, let me see if I can actually pull up to show you exactly how this looks, okay? I'm going to just see if I can share my screen. Let's see if I can get awesome. I'm going to share my screen and show you how you can actually view this for all of your own businesses. Just getting my phone mirroring up. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see the profile. Hey, Gordon, welcome on. Thanks for joining us today. So this is one of my social media profiles on Instagram. So this is a good example. So if we go over to professional dashboard, you will be able to see a couple different pieces of insight. So like, let's go to interactions. Yeah, let's do the last 30 days. So now I need to be able to find this on the fly. Watch me not be able to find it because it's on a different screen. That might happen. So let's see. Profile. Okay, profile visits. So in this 30-day period, last 30 days I did, let's say we had, this was 11,000 basically profile visits, right? So last 30 days, 11,000. And then if you go over to followers, last 30 days, you can see 2,500, right? So from this account, it's around a 24 to 25% follow back ratio, which is fairly good. If you get close to 30%, you're kind of like flying actually. So that's how you can kind of tell the ratio of if your profile is optimized for everything. Does that make sense? If you have questions, folks, by the way, you can comment them down below while we're going through this training. So that's the first thing that you want to look at. On Facebook, it's a little bit harder. So with Facebook, what we just tell people is like, you need to set your profile up to like look really great and have it all optimized. That's going to make a difference, even if you can't track it because Facebook's tracking isn't as good as Instagram. It's still going to make a big difference. So I'm going to go back to sharing some of this other stuff. So that being said, you want to make sure that your profile is optimized. You have specifically who you help in your profile, right? Because people will decide within a couple seconds if you are actually going to be helpful for them. So having who you help, right? Right there in the bio, you want that to be specifically there because that's going to get people to actually follow you. Now, most people, when they're thinking of following you, they're going to also look at one or two pieces of your content. Usually, they're going to look at either one of these top 3 posts or they're going to view your stories, okay? And this is actually a big plug on why you should, number one, have pinned posts, whether it's on Instagram or even if you go over to Facebook, right? So if we go over to Facebook, here's a good example. So this is also a good example of profile optimization on Facebook, but you can also do a pinned post on Facebook, right? So if someone's looking at your profile, the pinned post will come up first and you want to have a pinned post that's like really good and like actually really punchy. So you want to make sure that your content is good and you're producing content, right? Because if someone decides like, hey, I'm going to come follow this person and they're going to go watch a story or two, they're like, okay, what's the story about? Okay, what's the story about? Interesting. That's where people will normally choose to follow. Because if you've noticed before, this is actually something you'll see happen quite often, is if someone will be viewing your stories and then they'll follow you. And oftentimes, if things aren't working the right way, you'll see people view your stories and then not follow you. And that's telling you that either your content or your profile didn't speak to them. So make sure, so a couple of different notes here, make sure your profile is specific, okay? Specific, you're actually saying like what type of work you do or what type of coach you are, right? So it's specific on those ends of things. You have the demographic very clearly laid out, and you want to have very clean aesthetics, meaning don't have like a really messy bio. Have a very clear, simple, tangible who you help, how you help them. Very clean aesthetic. And then also, I mean, frankly, profile picture makes a big difference, okay? Profile picture and on Facebook cover pictures actually make a massive difference. So spend not too much time, but spend some decent time making sure that that all looks good. That's all really important. And then often, yeah, like I said, you can also have the pinned posts on both platforms. Have pinned posts that are going to be desirable for people, okay? So this is the first step because here's the truth. You could spend money on advertisement. You could do all the audience growth strategies out there. If your bio doesn't look good, if it doesn't look specific, if it doesn't look valuable, if it doesn't look like it'd be actually helpful for someone, they're not going to follow you no matter how much you spend on audience growth strategies, okay? Is this making sense so far, by the way? Comment down below, makes sense if it does. I just don't want to go any further until this is all completely crystal clear. Because for you to get new leads, which is the whole thing that we're talking about today, you actually have to, basically, think about it like this. The first time you meet someone, your impression of them is always based off of that first impression, right? Some people will say, if it's not a good first impression, it's your last impression, right? And so on social media, your first impression is your social media profiles. And in a lot of ways, your social media right now is like your landing page, right? A lot of people, it used to be like you'd find their website was the first thing that you found out about them. In today's age, it's their social media. So you need to have your social media set up so that the first impression is good, so that you can actually have continual impressions on them and they just don't like go away. So that's the first stage. This is making sense, everyone? So now to get new followers, you need to basically be getting outside of your social media bubble and into other audiences. And I'm going to share with you some of the best ways to do this today. And I'm also going to be sharing with you specific Instagram versus Facebook strategies. And if there's other people on here using other social media platforms, just let me know. I can dive into other stuff. Most of you, I'm guessing, actually, go ahead, comment down below. Where are most of you growing your audiences? Go ahead, comment down below. I want to make sure that you're all growing on Facebook and Instagram before I continue, just to make sure the advice is helpful. Facebook, Instagram. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Good to know. Facebook. LinkedIn. Okay. LinkedIn as well. Okay. LinkedIn's slightly different, Linnea. If you have questions about that afterwards, you can ask me. We have some clients crushing it on LinkedIn, but Instagram. Okay, awesome. Most of you, we're going to go just over Facebook and Instagram kind of strategies. So the goal with going ahead and moving into audience growth is understanding that the platforms all have specific ways that you can grow your audience. Okay, and you should be focusing on your platform specific ways of growing your audience. So there are what we call organic methods. Okay, organic methods, there's paid methods, and there is collab methods. Okay, so I'm going to be going through these one at a time, and the best entrepreneurs learn how to master all of these. Okay, and so there will be a lot of people out there who are like, hey, just choose one or the other or whatever it is, but truthfully the best entrepreneurs can do all of them. So let's start with organic. Okay, so organic audience growth is very simple. Okay, basically you have two options. You have either conversation or content. Those are basically the two different options. So let's start with content. As most of you know, on social media right now, specifically Instagram, short form video is a great way to grow your audience. Okay, that's number one. If you are growing on Instagram, you should get great at short form video content. It has the ability to grow your audience. It has the ability to get reach farther than where you are right now. And basically, I'll show you a little bit about this. So you want your posts, and I'm going to share my screen here in a second, to go to new audiences. And you can actually see if it's going to new audiences by the insights. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to share my screen and show you how you can tell. So again, this is just looking at your insights. If you go look at your insights, you can see a real, if how many of the views are from followers versus non-followers. And the goal is that the reels that you're posting are going to non-followers. There's a couple things that are going to help you do this. Is number one is obviously watch time. So watch time is you want people to watch quite a bit of your video. So this reel, 44% of the people watched what they watched up towards about half of it. So, and you're going to be able to see also how many followers you got off of the reel. So this one got 40 new followers. So that's going to allow you to see how to grow your audience. Right now, the way that it works with short form video content is basically if you post a short form video, if you get enough likes on it from your current audience, right? So if your current audience likes it, Instagram will say, okay, these people liked it. I'm going to show this video to more people like the people who already watched it, which is why you want to be careful about the quality of your audience. Because if the wrong people like your content, by the way, Instagram's going to show it to more of the wrong people. This is where some people have videos go viral and they get all the wrong followers. And so Instagram only knows what types of accounts are engaging. And if a lot of them engage, that it's going to push it out to more of those same types of accounts. And so you want to make sure you're getting the right people engaging with it, so it shoots it out to more of the right people. And that's where you can have a video actually get onto the feed of other people, and they're seeing it when they're scrolling, and they will look over your profile and actually follow you. So that's the way you can do it via content on Instagram. The other ways that you can get your content to actually grow your audience is simply through having people share your content, okay? This is on every single platform. It's a pretty across the board that if you have content that other people love and they share it to their profile, you'll grow your audience, okay? So shareable content is growing your audience. So short form video content and shareable content. Shareable content could be a picture, it could be a carousel, but basically shareable content is going to be really good for you, a lot of you. Now, the other ways that you can also grow your audience, let's say Facebook specific, because I know some of you are on Facebook, is simply through finding other Facebook groups and making posts that you're allowed to make in those groups and providing value in there. That's a great way to do it on Facebook as well. You can also find people who would be ideal clients and you can add them as a friend. Facebook's a little bit more of a manual platform versus Instagram's a little bit more of a video platform, a little bit more inbound. So there's a couple different ways to grow it organically, okay? So what you want to do is you want to pick your platform and then you want to pick the method that you're going to be utilizing to grow your audience, okay? So that being said, is this making sense? I know on these trainings, I can sometimes go so deep on stuff versus like I'm giving you guys the real stuff. I'm not just giving you like a sugarcoating stuff here and being like, oh, all this nice fluff. I'm giving you a lot of stuff here and it works as long as we put it into work. So Jessica says that she got it. Awesome. Is it making sense to the rest of you folks? Want to make sure because there's a lot of stuff that we're diving into. So organically, basically your options right now is to post content that's going to go viral, post content that's going to get a lot of shares, or to go and find your ideal clients, whether it's in Facebook groups or different Facebook accounts, and connect with them, add them as a friend, and they'll add you back, right? Basically, frankly, and I'll tell you right now, the first year that I hit $1 million in business, I think this was 2019, I believe. I did it all from just adding friends on Facebook, which sounds crazy, but I would add 50 friends on Facebook a day. And we were getting like 3 to 4 clients coming in every single week off of that. We just had a great system on Facebook. So some people are like, oh, I would never just go add friends on Facebook. Well, I had my first $1 million year basically just from that strategy. So don't discount some of these strategies, even if you're like, oh, that seems like a lot of work. Well, if you want to serve a lot of people and change the world, it's not going to be easy. So anyway, so there's a bunch of these strategies that are organic. Now let's talk about paid strategies, okay? Paid strategies are fantastic for growing your audience. Basically, they break down into 2 different types of paid strategies, either a paid ad or a paid shout out, okay? So now, I'm going to give you folks examples of this because, again, I think this is more helpful if I give you examples. One of the easiest ways that we're right now helping our clients grow their audiences is through what we call boosted audience growth reels, okay? So this is where we, on Instagram, we'll take a client's video and we'll help them craft a specific video like this. A POV, you finally found an account that helps women with da 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 da, right? So basically like just putting it out there. We'll then get people to boost it. As you can see, this thing got 136,000 views. And I think that video alone got her about 2,500 followers, okay? So with boosted content, what we're looking at for most people is that every dollar that you're spending on boosting it, you'll get 1 to 2 followers who are ideal clients. And this is a great strategy right now that's actually working really incredibly well, where a lot of our clients that we're working with are spending $5 to $10 a day. They're getting 10 to 20 new followers every single day who are joining their audiences. And it's such a fantastic way to generate new leads. And it's actually pretty affordable for a lot of people. And so that's an example of a paid ad to go ahead and grow your audience. The other version is actually a paid shout out. And this is more specifically on Instagram, where you can get larger accounts who have your ideal clients in them, and you'll pay them, let's say $100 or $200 for them to post a piece of your content on their profile. And then basically, because their profiles are massive, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of followers, lots of people will see the content and will come over to your profile, right? So it's another paid version. It's a bit more complicated. We usually leave that for people who are more advanced in business. I wanted to share with you because I'm more of like the transparency, pull the curtain back, show you everything. But I do want to just really help you understand that that's a bit more of an advanced strategy and you have to be more careful with it. So those are some of the paid ways that you can grow your audience. And then you have what we call collaborations, right? Collaborations are a fantastic way where you could either do a workshop with another person in your space. You could do Instagram story swaps where some people will literally choose to like collaborate and be like, hey, I'll post like my stories on your stories today, right? It's like an Instagram takeover, and you can do kind of collaborations like that as well. Sometimes people will do podcasts with that, or even they'll swap out email lists, right? So people will do collaborations as well, and it's a great way to cross-pollinate audiences. So when it comes down to audience growth, those are the 3 ways. You have organic means, you have paid means, and you have collaboration means. At the end of the day, You don't have to love all of the ways, but you have to do at least one or two of them really good if you want to be successful. Most of our clients start with organic and a little bit of paid. And oftentimes, as their businesses evolve, they'll do slightly more paid and add in the collaborations down the road. And so, those are the best methods right now for getting the new people into your audience. Okay. But like I said, the reason I started this whole thing with optimizing your social media profiles is all of that work, all of those methods are useless if your social media is not set up correctly. Okay. So if you want to waste a lot of time on organic means, money on paid means, or collaboration opportunities, don't optimize your social media. If you want them to work well, optimize your social media. I hope I'm really hitting that home today because I want to make sure that you're all getting the right information here. So now let's talk numbers, okay? Let's talk numbers of what you should be looking for. I'll get you folks to comment actually down below. What's the next level of revenue you would like to hit in your business on a monthly basis? Are we talking about you want to bring in $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month? Comment down below where you'd like to be. And I'm going to actually help you understand a little bit of what you need to be doing on average in your audience growth for you to get there. So Jessica wants to get to $10,000 net. Lene wants to get to $10,000 a month as well. How about the rest of you folks? I want to give you a couple numbers today to think about. My kid says 30K. I like that. Your kid has an abundant mindset. I love it. I love it. Great, great, great. Yeah. Well, I don't have kids, but my Huskies, I'm sure they want me to make more money as well. They're like, we love all the treats. So anyway, I love that, folks. So let me share with you some rough numbers. I actually, this morning, I had a call with all of my team today because I always love to show everyone what are the commonalities of why people are successful. So I run the data off of all of our clients who are making $10,000 a month or $30,000 a month. And I actually look at, okay, what is the volume needed for you to get to a certain level in business? And this is just like averages, okay? I'm doing average numbers here because I want you to have like a good, basically a standard of what you're going after. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily 100% true. It's an average, okay? So for you to get to $10,000 a month in business, for most of the clients that we're working with, they need to be growing their audiences at about 75 new people per week, okay? Write that number down. 75 new leads per week coming in if you want to be hitting $10,000 months consistently, okay? So that's the first number I want you to think about. Now, for some of you that maybe are interested, like a $30,000 per month business, we're looking at a higher volume. We're usually looking at closer to about 200 new leads coming into your audience per week if you want to be doing $30,000 a month. One of our clients right now who's doing about $50,000 per month, he's having about 500 leads per week coming into his audience, okay? So we're just talking bigger numbers. It extrapolates. But for clarity's sake, thinking about 75 new leads if you want to get to $10,000 a month. Now, that might sound like a lot, but if a lot of you are doing like a normal 5-day work week, right? That's looking at you're needing about 15 new followers per day, okay? So this is how I like to reverse engineer it, okay? Let's just say your social media is nicely set up, the profile's optimized, etc., etc. If you need 15 new followers per day, basically for most of you, you're going to be doing either organic methods or paid methods to make that happen. So now you need to get really good at those methods to basically implement the audience growth strategies every single day so that the outcome, which is followers, is 15 followers per day on average. If you can make that happen, and then obviously if you're good at actually like nurturing and selling and all of the other stuff that we talked a little bit about yesterday, you will be getting to $10,000 a month. Is this making sense, folks? I know it's funny. I watched a workshop from one of my competitors the other day. And on their workshop, they just didn't really talk about really anything tangible. They just talked about all this stuff up in the clouds. And I was like, this sounds like good shit, but I didn't like get anything tangible out of it. On the other hand, I'm going to go very tangible and it might overwhelm some of you. That's okay. I want you to get the real understanding of what it takes to build a business. So any questions off of this so far? I want to take a bit of a pause here. Any questions, you can comment them down below, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can go ahead and unmute yourself as well. I like having specific numbers to work towards. 100%. I'm the same way, whether it's in like me training to run ultra marathons or in business, if I have numbers in my head that I can see, like I'm tracking my heart rate, I know the workout, I know all these things, I just, it's way better for me. So anyone have any specific questions on this so far before we'll keep going for another like 10, 15 minutes. I have a couple more things I want to run through today. Spreadsheets make me happy. I love it. I love it. And actually, I mean, talking about spreadsheets, let me show you a little bit of, yeah, some of the things that we actually look at when we work with our clients. We actually look at their weekly metrics, and we actually are tracking things like audience growth. So let me actually show you. So this is one of our clients right now that's working with us. She just had her first 10K month. Super, super proud of her. But this is some of the stuff that we track, right? We track like audience growth, content creation, value pieces, conversations, offer calls, books called, all these things, right? And this is one of the things that we love to track, because as far as audience growth goes, as you can see here, so kind of started here with 2,300-ish followers. It's going up to 2,400 followers, 2,600 followers, 36, so massive week here. 5,800 followers, like almost 7,000 followers. As you can see here, this is just in the time frame of about 10 weeks going, basically almost 3xing her following. But what this did is it took her from averaging about $2,000 a month to now she's averaging about 10K a month. And it's because we actually started to track the numbers, implement the right strategies at the right point of her business. And now we can see that they're actually getting the results, right? You see this journey. And it's because, I mean, yes, we're focusing on the current leads, what we talked about in yesterday's training, but we really focus on the new leads, because for a lot of you, frankly, it's you don't have enough leads right now to put in the reps. A lot of you are like, I wish I had more people to have conversations with. I wish I had more people who wanted my freebies. I wish I had more sales calls. And you can't even really work on those skill sets unless you have the reps. You can't even put the reps in because you don't have the volume. And so that's why new leads are so important. So I really want you folks to be understanding this today, is that you're going to need to grow your audience if you want to actually grow your business, okay? I'm not saying you need 10,000 followers to make 10K months. I mean, a lot of our clients will hit a 10K month when they're at like their first 2,000 or 3,000 followers, but you do need to keep it growing, okay? Because if you don't keep it growing, your business is slowly but surely going to die, okay? So we need the fresh stuff coming in. So Ade has a great question. Is your program mostly for Instagram, and when do people typically start reaching the financial goal for the month? Fantastic question. So our program actually works with people in a lot of different platforms. I mean, the guy that I was telling you about that's getting 500 leads coming in per week, he's actually on LinkedIn, actually. So LinkedIn was working really well for this. This works well for Facebook. This works well for Instagram. We have some clients right now that are doing $25,000 a month on YouTube. So like it works well, and some of our clients are killing it on TikTok. So when we work with people, the reason that I'm showing a lot of Instagram here today for sure. I get where you would be coming with that, but actually we look at what's going to be the best platform for you, because it doesn't matter if you choose YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, your audience still needs to grow, and it still needs to grow by this amount, right? So I always tell people there are non-negotiables, necessities as I call them, and there's optimizations. Basically the non-negotiables is that your audience is growing. The stuff that is, you can kind of like go either way, is which platform you choose. That's a great, lots of platforms work. Just pick one, whichever one you want to pick. Your audience has to grow no matter what, okay? And when do people typically start reaching their financial goal for the month? I mean, within our program, obviously it totally depends on what their financial goal is and where they're starting. But a lot of people are starting to get more clients and start to make more money within the first 30 to 45 days within our program. So at what level can you start to make money on Instagram as opposed to just getting leads that convert into sales from Instagram? That's a great question. Are you talking about like where Instagram's paying you for views and stuff like that, Jessica? Okay, yeah. So you can start with a fairly small audience, but frankly, it's a little bit hit or miss. Plus, it's just not that much money. Right? I mean, I have a client right now. He's on Instagram. He has almost 200,000 followers on Instagram. He gets tons of viral videos. He's barely making $1,000 to $2,000 off of like Instagram itself. Okay. So relying on stuff like that is a very long game. If you want to get paid well, get clients. If you want to just like do things as a hobby for fun, sure, go that way. YouTube easier to monetize. No, because creating long form content takes more time. It takes more time, Plus, getting out there is slightly harder than Instagram. Instagram, you have a better chance of popping off. YouTube's a long game, okay? We have some clients who use YouTube right now to like funnel people into a membership. But the reason that it works so well is that they've been posting for 3 years consistently every single week. Plus, we're running YouTube ads as well. So at the end of the day, for most people starting in business, Facebook and Instagram are going to be your best plays. Most of you. Now, that's not all the case. So hopefully this is making sense. So here's what I want you folks to do, okay? So yesterday we talked about current leads. We talked about how do you we talked about the VIP method yesterday, where it's value, intimacy, proposal. That's what we talked about yesterday, how to turn current leads into buyers. Today, all we were talking about is how to make that first sale, which is someone needs to follow you, okay? So once you start to get these people to follow you, and then they start to engage in your content, want your freebies, that's when they become current leads, right? And so now you kind of have an understanding of like, okay, every single day, basically thinking about it like this. What do I need to do daily to grow my audience? And then what do I need to do daily to turn my current leads into buyers? And then tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how you should daily be following up with past leads to re-engage them. Because for every, let's say, 100 followers that you get, let's say, I don't know, let's say 30 of them really engage with your content, but only maybe 5 out of those 30 are interested in buying right now. Well, those 25 people who aren't interested right now, most of them are falling through the cracks. Most of them you don't actually ever go back and basically talk with again. But having a good follow-up strategy literally can double your business with you having good re-engagement strategies. So that being said, that's why you need to be coming to tomorrow's training. And if you haven't watched yesterday's training, make sure you reach out to me and ask for the replay. So that being said, those are the main pieces I wanted to go through for you folks today. Let's do a little bit of a Q&A. I got like 10 minutes here. So if you guys have questions, go ahead. You can unmute yourself and ask your question unmuted, or you can put it in the comments down below. But I want you to start to literally in your schedule, okay? In your schedule, I want you to block off at least 1 hour every single day and just title it audience growth. And then you list out what are the things I can do today to grow my audience, right? What can I do organically? What can I do paid? What can I do collab, right? You have your methods. So do at least that, because frankly, I just see it happen again and again. People post for a year, 2 year, but guess what? If their audience isn't growing, your content literally is not being shown to anyone. It's the classic, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise? It's the same thing. If you post content for a year, but your audience never grows, like, is it even useful? It's actually not. It's frankly not useful. And so you need to make sure the audience is growing, or else all of your other efforts are for waste. And we do not want that. I know you folks, you want to help people, you want to serve them, you want to also make good money, and you maybe quit your job or whatever it is. So let's not do that. Anyways, I'm rambling, folks. Let's do some questions. Let's do some questions. What questions do you have about growing the audience, getting the new leads in, social media optimization? If anyone wants me to quickly pop over to your social media profile, give you a couple tips on maybe how to optimize it, go ahead and comment down below as well. I want to make sure that you're getting a ton of value out of this today, okay? I need to trim my profiles for sure, Maria. Do you want me, Maria, to go look at them right now and give you some of my thoughts? Are you brave enough for that? Let me know. If not, that's okay. But if anyone else wants it as well, comment it down below. Okay, Maria and Amy both want it. Awesome. Sounds good. Okay, well, I'm going to do Maria first, and this might be helpful for all of you. So Maria, I'm going to start with your Facebook. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting the right one. Maria Sass. Yes, there we go. Okay, so there you go. Thank you for being brave. So Maria, now, first things first. So I do love your profile picture and your cover photo, okay? I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. The only thing I would change is where it says Get Fit at Home, MS Fitness. This just doesn't tell me who this is for, okay? I could probably, like, off of it being like a female figurine and you being female, I could maybe guess that you want females to come follow you, but let's make it overt, meaning let's make it very specific. So 9 out of 10, the only thing that's gonna make a 10 out of 10 is being specific on who this is for. And sometimes people will even put in their cover photo like a call to action to a freebie as well. So that's what I would say there. Now, here you have like women's fitness specialist, right? So again, I could suss that out, but let's get specific with that. So, certified nutrition coach and women's fitness specialist, get in the habit of staying healthy and fit. So, here's what I would say. Again, this is probably an 8 out of 10 bio. What's going to make it better is two things specifically. Number one, you need to name their pain. Okay, you need to name what's their pain point, because that's going to help them realize that you can help them if you can name their pain point. So, name their pain point here. And oftentimes you can also put a link to a freebie in here as well, okay? Having a link to your freebie in the intro in the bio here is also going to be a powerful way of generating leads, okay? So that's the first thing that I'm going to say. And then I'm going to go over to your Instagram. I might do it via your website. So your website, this is your website. Very good, good. I'm not going to give you info on your website today. I'm just trying to find your Instagram link. So let's go here. So here is what I would do. So is, again, where it says Maria Sass here, again, instead of that, put in something where it says name and then like basically what you do and how you help people, right? So that's the first thing, is that you put that in. Who want to lose weight and get shape without counting calories. Okay, see right here, that's a little bit of pain point stuff. That's good. Make sure your Facebook has a bit more of that. And those who prefer working out at home. Instead of saying prefer working out at home, dive deep into that, being like for those women who love like working out at home, right? Prefer is a little bit of like a indecisive word. Get decisive with it. So also you have here, book a call with me. I like that you have a call to action here and then your link, but most people aren't going to book a call off of this. I would much rather have a like, here's my free guide on working out at home, and then have a freebie here, right? I'd much rather you have that, because that's actually going to be utilized versus this isn't going to be utilized. I still like your profile picture, but for some reason on Instagram, it doesn't look as good. I would probably more so grab like a picture like this. That's a bit more like a straight shot of you, or even this one. This is a great photo. This is a great photo. You got a lot of great photos, but bit more of a close-up picture of you like smiling. That's what I would just change up there as well. You do have some stuff here that is pinned. The only thing I like to tell people in pinned is you're saying here, like, if you want to apply my life pillars to your lifestyle, you're welcome to send a DM. Get them to comment a word instead of DM you. Again, ease of access. It's very easy for someone to comment. It's harder for them to DM. So you could be like, comment life below if you want this. So a couple of different things that I would change and shift up there. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to stop sharing now. Website is under construction. That's totally fun. Or don't want to go to the gym. Yeah, exactly. I love that. Yeah, like literally hate the gym, or like get anxiety at the gym, whatever it is. I love that. So don't have a freebie yet. Yeah, we'll need to create a freebie for sure. So Amy wants me to do one as well. We'll do one quickly for Amy. Let me just pull your profile up, Amy. Sometimes I have trouble pulling up people's profile. Amy. And I'm getting the right Amy right. Is this Amy Wise? Is that correct, Amy? Let me know if I'm getting the right one, because down here it says Amy Marie.
Yes.
Perfect,
Amy Wise.
perfect.
Yep.
There we go. Okay, I thought it was you. I just double check before I talk about someone else's profile. So great. So Wise Living Functional Health Practitioner. I like this. However, I would give this a 9 out of 10. Again, when you're thinking about getting a bit more specific, that's going to be helpful, where we're talking about like the type of coach. So I would get more specific here, right? So if you're brain gut functional lab testing, so I'd get more specific here in this part of it, as far as like basically women's gut coach, or like women's gut health, or something like that. Like that's actually going to be more specific. Again, we don't have a demographic here, right? We don't have a demographic here, so we need a demo. I like your profile picture. I think that's great. I'm good with that. But I would just get your demographic and a pain point in here, and I would make this more specific as far as the social media optimization. And then I don't mind these as far as like, again, DM or email me. Again, people are not going to email you off of a post, so get people to comment. We don't want to add any friction where there doesn't need to be friction. When someone reads a post, the easiest form of commitment is a comment. The hardest form is a DM or a email. So make it easier for people to get a hold of you. And then for these as well, you can also just make it so that the profile picture, like this one, that like the writing is cut off, just make it so that it's more readable and more digestible. So those are a couple of things that I would probably shift right off the bat for you. So I am an FDNP2. There you go. The FDNs are just taking over. Crazy, crazy practitioners. Awesome, folks. So we got 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Who else got some questions? Who else got some, yeah, stuff they wanted me to review? I want to make sure if you didn't watch yesterday's training that you do, because all of these trainings work in tangent, because all of them are about generating leads, okay? Today's training was about generating leads that are new. Yesterday was about generating leads who are currently in your audience, and tomorrow is going to be about generating leads who are past leads. You throw all of these together in the mix, you then have a powerful way of every single day having new people coming in that you can build a relationship with. You have current leads who you can turn into buyers, and you have old leads that you can re-engage and get them to buy your program. This creates a massive flow of leads coming in. I often have it happen. I mean, literally, we have clients coming in where they're like, I don't have a lot of leads. And within a month or two, they're like, I have too many leads, because we're doing lead generation properly. So last call for questions or reviews for today. Any questions? Anyone want to review? Last call for today, folks. Tomorrow's training is going to be at the same time, and make sure that you're able to come to it. And like I said, if you need the replay from yesterday, go ahead and send me a message. I think we have it uploaded on YouTube now, so I should be able to get it over to you folks. So that being said, okay, no further questions, folks. This is great. Thanks for jumping on here today. We'll be seeing you folks tomorrow for the last and final training. I'm really excited about this, folks, because I know a lot of you, specifically today, a lot of you need to get more followers. A lot of you need to grow the audience. Your gifts, your genius, your experience, all the impact that you want to create, it needs to be seen by more people. And if you don't do audience growth the right way, it never will be. So I'm telling you the facts so that we can create the life and the results that you want. So you're welcome, folks. Have a fantastic Tuesday, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow in the training. So we'll chat soon, and bye for now, folks.